In 2019, a hospital nurse in Ohio quietly built a second income stream that eventually paid more than her actual full-time salary. She never told her employer, never posted about it online, and never let a single coworker suspect what she was doing after hours. Today, nearly 47% of Americans report earning income from a side hustle this year, according to Intuit QuickBooks 2026 research. That means almost 1 in 2 working adults already has a quiet second income stream running in the background of their life. So the real question is not whether you should start one, it is how to build yours without anyone at work ever noticing. Let me show you the real numbers behind silent income building, because the data tells a very different story than most people assume. According to the Penny Hoarders 2026 survey, 53% of side hustlers say they would struggle without that extra monthly income. 3 in 4 respondents in that same survey said rising inflation directly increased their reliance on income earned outside their primary job. The global side hustle economy was valued at over $674 billion in 2026, according to industry research firm Podbase. Yet most people building these streams never mention it to their employer, their manager, or even close friends inside their own office. 62% of side hustlers treat their extra income as job loss insurance, a hedge against a shrinking and uncertain job market. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported the economy shed 92,000 jobs in February 2026 alone, fueling this quiet financial migration. Here is asset 1 for building income silently, and it starts with something almost nobody at your office would ever suspect you of doing. Freelance and content-based work now makes up a massive share of quiet second incomes, with over 10 million independent creators nationwide. According to Bankrate, online sales are the single most common side hustle in 2026, chosen by 15% of all side hustlers surveyed. This works mechanically because platforms like Etsy, eBay, and Amazon let you operate a business entirely from a personal device after hours. No storefront, no coworker walking by your desk, and no paper trail at all leading back to your employer's network or company-issued equipment. The honest downside here is real, because 41% of sellers handle everything solo, meaning burnout risk climbs fast without support. The access point is simple. Pick one platform, list 10 items this month, and track every dollar separately from your day job income. Asset 2 for silent income building is freelance service work, things like writing, design, bookkeeping, or consulting done through your own devices. Upwork projects 86.5 million American freelancers by 2027, roughly 51% of the entire national workforce by then. This mechanism works because clients pay you directly through your own personal account with no connection whatsoever to your primary employer's systems. 78% of surveyed CEOs say top freelancers actually deliver more measurable value than many of their regular full-time employees. The risk here is genuine conflict of interest, especially if your freelance clients operate anywhere near your employer's industry or customer base. The action step is straightforward. Only take freelance work far outside your employer's industry and always use separate accounts and separate devices. Now, let's talk about why staying quiet about a side income actually matters more than most people realize before they start one. In the United States, moonlighting is legal in every single state, but individual company policies can still restrict or even prohibit it. A recent industry survey found 65% of employees are moonlighting or actively searching for part-time work while employed full-time. Many employers require formal disclosure of any outside work, especially in roles involving client access, trade secrets, or confidential company information systems. If your side income has nothing to do with your employer's business, disclosure requirements are usually minimal or non-existent under most policies. Still, 64% of workers in one survey believe moonlighting is completely ethical and has nothing to do with employee loyalty. The mechanism protecting you here is simple separation. Separate devices, separate working hours, separate bank accounts, and zero use of company resources. Using company laptops, company internet, or company time for outside work is the single fastest way to turn quiet income into a fired employee. If protecting your income and your job matters to you, check the free video linked below on setting up financial boundaries at work. Asset 3 for building a silent income stream is dividend-paying investments, a method that requires almost zero ongoing active time each week. Unlike freelancing or selling products, dividend investing runs entirely inside a brokerage account that nobody at your office will ever see or ask about. The mechanism here is ownership. You buy shares of profitable companies and they pay you a portion of profits every single quarter. Historically, dividend-paying stocks in the S&P 500 have delivered steady income alongside long-term price appreciation over multiple decades. The honest risk is that dividends are never guaranteed, and companies can cut or eliminate payouts during recessions or financial distress periods. The access point is opening a standard brokerage account, contributing a fixed amount monthly, and reinvesting dividends until the income becomes noticeable. Asset 4 is content creation, something the data shows growing faster than almost every other quiet income category tracked in 2026 surveys. Social media content creation now leads all side hustle categories at 35%, ahead of e-commerce, gaming, and graphic design combined. This mechanism works because platforms pay creators directly through advertising revenue, sponsorships, or subscriber payments, all processed outside your employer's knowledge entirely. The downside is inconsistency, since payouts fluctuate wildly month to month and building an audience large enough to matter takes real time. The action step is choosing a niche unrelated to your job, posting consistently, and reinvesting early earnings into better equipment or tools. Let's pause here for the tax reality nobody in these quiet income conversations wants to talk about, because it genuinely matters this year. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act reinstated the 1099-K reporting threshold at $20,000 and 200 transactions for 2026 and beyond. That means most casual sellers and side hustlers will not receive a tax form at all unless they cross that specific dollar threshold. According to the IRS, this does not change your legal obligation, since all income remains fully taxable whether or not a form arrives. Separately, the 1099 NEC and 1099 MIS threshold rises from $600 to $2,000 starting with payments made after December 2025. This means fewer freelance clients will issue you paperwork, but you are still required to report every dollar earned on your own return. The mechanism protecting you legally is simple record keeping. Track every payment received, regardless of whether any company sends you a tax form. The honest risk here is assuming silence from the IRS equals permission, when in reality unreported income can trigger penalties and back taxes. The access point is opening a separate business bank account today and logging every dollar of side income the same week you earn it. Now here is the part most finance channels skip entirely: the real emotional and financial risk of building income on the side. 30% of Americans quit their side hustle or small business specifically because of financial risk, according to recent entrepreneurship survey data. Over half of those who quit said they genuinely feared losing money or falling into debt trying to build their second income stream. A 2025 industry survey found 67% of side hustlers report experiencing real burnout from juggling two income sources. 86% of side hustlers spend under 20 hours weekly on their extra work, yet fatigue and stress remain common complaints. The mechanism behind burnout is simple. Your body and brain do not know the difference between a job and a passion project. Time spent earning silently still draws from the same limited daily energy you need for your primary job, family, and personal health. The honest downside is that not every side income idea succeeds, and some months, the extra effort produces very little actual return. The access point here is setting a strict weekly time limit for your side income work and protecting sleep and rest above all else. 65% of side hustlers surveyed by LendingTree said they would actually prefer a single income source if given the real choice. That statistic matters because it proves silent income building is often survival strategy first and entrepreneurial dream second for most working Americans. So where did all this quiet financial pressure actually come from? And why is it accelerating specifically in the current economic environment? Rising housing costs, stubborn grocery prices, and persistent insurance increases are the three most cited reasons Americans pursue extra income right now. 54% of side hustlers say they started specifically to cover bills and essential expenses, not to chase entrepreneurial passion projects. Only 9% said they started their side hustle purely to pursue a passion or hobby, down from 14% just last year. This shift tells us something important. Quiet second incomes have become financial infrastructure, not a luxury hobby for ambitious weekend entrepreneurs anymore. If building real financial security quietly matters to you, the free breakdown linked below walks through setting up your first income stream. Let's talk mechanism one more time, because understanding clearly why silent income works protects you from common and expensive first-time mistakes. Every stream discussed here shares one quality. It runs on your own devices, your own hours, and your own separate financial accounts. That separation is not paranoia. It is simply smart structure that protects your primary job while your second income quietly grows in parallel. 43% of side hustlers report earning more money while working fewer hours than they would in a traditional salaried position. That gap grows even wider among younger workers, with 50% of Gen Z reporting the same result in recent national survey data. None of this means quitting your day job tomorrow, and almost none of the data supports rushing that decision without real financial preparation. Instead, the smartest approach recorded across every major survey is layering. Keep the stable paycheck while the quiet stream slowly builds momentum. Let's go deeper into the actual platforms people use, because the specific choice matters more than most beginners initially realize going in. Among online sellers, eBay leads at 49%, followed closely by Amazon at 47% and Facebook Marketplace at 41%. TikTok Shop has grown quickly too, now used by 30% of online sellers, especially among younger sellers building audiences alongside their sales. Print on demand has become especially popular in 2026, since it requires no upfront inventory, no storage space, and no shipping labor at all. You design once, a third party prints and ships the product, and you collect a margin without ever touching physical inventory yourself. The mechanism here protects your time specifically, since automation handles fulfillment while you focus on design work during evenings or weekends only. The honest downside is thin margins, since print-on-demand pricing is competitive and profit per item is often just a few dollars. Survey figures on participation vary widely depending on definitions, ranging from 27% in Bankrate data to 47% from QuickBooks research. That 20-point gap between surveys reminds us that how a question gets asked shapes the answer, so treat any single statistic with care. On average, side hustlers spend somewhere between 8 hours weekly and 19.5 hours monthly, depending on which research firm you trust. That time commitment matters because only 37% of working Americans keep a dedicated emergency fund according to recent savings research. Without that cushion, a second income stream often becomes the actual emergency fund substitute for millions of financially stretched working households nationwide. Gen Z leads adoption here, with 71% taking on a side hustle in the past 12 months, according to workforce research data. Millennials followed closely at 68%, while roughly a third of baby boomers reported picking up new income opportunities during the same period. Content creation specifically grew 13% year over year, with independent creators now numbering over 10 million people across the United States alone. That growth matters because content income scales differently than selling products, since your audience becomes the actual long-term asset you are building. Now, on legal boundaries, in Washington state, employers cannot restrict a second job if you earn less than twice the state minimum wage. Rules like this vary significantly by state, so understanding your specific state's employment law matters before assuming any second job is fully protected. Federal government employees face the strictest moonlighting rules of all, requiring formal ethics approval before taking on nearly any outside paid work. Private sector rules are usually looser, but roles touching client data, trade secrets, or direct competitors still carry real disclosure obligations you should honor. Detection risk is real too, since remote monitoring software can flag unusual login patterns, idle periods, or company hardware used for outside work. The mechanism protecting you is simple. Never use company laptops, company internet, or company hours for any part of your second income stream. For software and technical roles specifically, the safest silent income streams avoid any client, product, or market that overlaps your employer's business. A programmer moonlighting as a programmer for a competitor faces far higher risk than the same programmer selling furniture on a marketplace platform. Back to dividend investing for a moment, because the mechanism deserves more explanation before you consider it as one of your 4 assets. A dividend reinvestment plan automatically uses your quarterly payouts to buy more shares, compounding your position without requiring any manual effort from you. Over long time horizons, this compounding effect is what quietly turns modest monthly contributions into a meaningful secondary income stream years later. The honest risk remains real. During recessions, companies often cut dividends first to preserve cash, reducing your income exactly when you need it most. Diversifying across many companies and sectors, rather than one single stock, is the standard method advisors recommend for managing that specific risk. Only about 20% of side hustlers actually intend to turn their extra income into a full-time business or career eventually. For most people, the goal recorded across nearly every survey is supplementing the primary paycheck, not replacing it entirely within a short time frame. That distinction matters because chasing full-time replacement too quickly is exactly what leads to burnout, financial risk, and abandoned side projects. Nearly half of current side hustlers, 49%, started their income stream within just the past year, showing how recent this shift is. That recency also explains inconsistent income data, since many streams are still in early stages and have not yet reached steady monthly output. A gender pay gap persists inside the side hustle economy too, with men and women hustling at similar rates, but uneven average earnings. Addressing that gap often comes down to platform choice, pricing confidence, and negotiating client rates rather than simply working additional unpaid hours. Even niche ideas can work well. Mobile car washing was recently reported as one of the fastest growing side hustle categories in the country. The lesson there is that silent income does not require a tech background, just a service people already need delivered more conveniently. Whatever asset you choose, remember the IRS increasingly cross-references bank deposits, payment app data, and card transactions beyond just formal 1099 forms. Assuming no form means no reporting obligation is one of the most expensive mistakes a quiet income builder can make during tax season. Keeping a simple monthly spreadsheet of every dollar earned protects you far better than hoping paperwork thresholds keep your income invisible forever. Let's also be honest about scaling too fast, since some workers eventually quit their day job entirely once a stream matures fully. 40% of side hustlers said they would not quit their side income even if their main employer offered a 20% raise. That statistic alone tells you how much financial security, not just money, is really driving this entire quiet income movement right now. Let's summarize the risk side one final time, because a balanced view protects you better than pure hype ever could on this topic. Every asset discussed carries a version of the same three risks: inconsistent income, real-time cost, and genuine tax reporting responsibility to manage. None of these risks should stop you from starting, but ignoring them is exactly how quiet income builders end up in financial trouble. The safest path forward is starting small, tracking everything honestly, and scaling only once your chosen stream proves consistent over several months. Patience here beats speed, since the data consistently shows slow, steady builders outlast fast, aggressive ones across nearly every income category studied. Before we close, remember that 85% of current side hustlers report being at least somewhat satisfied with their extra income overall. That satisfaction number matters because it shows the effort, despite real challenges, genuinely pays off for the overwhelming majority of people who try. Whatever path you choose, treat your second income stream with the same seriousness, structure, and record keeping as your primary salaried job. That mindset shift from hobby to real income stream is often what separates people who quit early from people who eventually succeed long term. If you found this breakdown useful, the free companion video linked below covers setting up your very first separate account step by step. One more honest note on burnout. Schedule actual days off from your side income the same way you would schedule vacation from your main job. Financial resilience built on top of complete exhaustion rarely lasts, so protecting your health is not optional, it is part of the real strategy. Let's recap exactly what the data shows about building a second income stream silently while protecting the job that pays your bills. Nearly 1 in 2 Americans already earn side income, and the smartest ones never mention it inside their own office or team meetings. 4 separate assets exist for building this quietly: online selling, freelance services, dividend investing, and content creation, each with distinct time demands. Every single one of these assets works because it runs entirely outside your employer's systems, devices, and knowledge of your daily activity. Every one of them also carries real downside, from burnout and inconsistent payouts to genuine tax reporting responsibility you cannot legally ignore. Here is your simple 3-step framework based entirely on what the actual research and survey data recommend for people starting today. Step 1. Choose exactly one asset from the 4 discussed, based on how much weekly time you honestly have available right now. Step 2. Open a completely separate bank account and track every dollar earned, regardless of whether any company ever sends you a form. Step 3. Set a strict weekly time cap for your second income, protecting your sleep, your health, and your primary job performance first. Follow those 3 steps consistently for even 90 days, and you will likely already outperform the average side hustler earning $500 monthly. Consistency beats intensity here, since the data shows most successful quiet earners build slowly over months, not through one dramatic weekend effort. Protect your primary income first, protect your reputation at work second, and let the second stream grow quietly in the background always. The goal was never secrecy for its own sake. The goal is simply financial stability that does not depend entirely on one paycheck. That single shift from one income source to 2 is what separates financially stressed households from financially resilient ones according to this data. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for educational purposes only, so always consult a licensed professional before making decisions. Thanks for watching, and if this helped you think differently about building income, the free resource linked below goes even deeper into it.